So, Hare Krishna, everybody. Suresvara Das here. Back again. What's all this about? Well, today we're observing, because we don't usually have this, right? These glasses are fogged up. What's going on? Sabotaged by foggy glasses. Anyway. This is something new. Why do we have this here? Anybody take a guess? Not temple devotees. Well, I see you're all internal people. Wait a minute, not you either. You're part of the show. Well, it's not actually the birthday of the Bhagavad Gita today. It's actually Wednesday, December 11th. But because it's hard for y'all to come on Wednesdays, it's easier to come on Sundays. We're going to observe it today. This is the Advent of the Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes it's called Gita Jayanti. So we're observing it today. Now, what is this Gita Jayanti? This is the anniversary. I got a script here. I was so nervous. I wrote a script. This is the anniversary commemorating the day 5,000 plus years ago that Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, spoke the Gita to his warrior disciple Arjuna. At the place, do you know where he spoke it? Raise your hand if you can tell us where he spoke. Okay, I saw a hand. Kurukshetra. Specifically at Kurukshetra. There's this place at Kurukshetra. Do you know the place?
Haryana, India.
Well, Haryana is the state. It's about 100 miles. Anybody ever been to New Delhi?
I'm from there.
You're from there. I'm glad you made it out. It's so hard to breathe in Delhi, right? Around this time of year, especially.
I'm not from Delhi, I'm from Kurukshetra.
You're from Kurukshetra. Wow. So you should be giving this class. About 100 miles north of Delhi is Kurukshetra. It's about a 3.5 hour bumpy car ride. And there's a spot at Kurukshetra. That's the place where Krishna spoke the Gita, or sung. Gita actually means song, to Arjuna. And the spot, if you're from Kurukshetra, you should know this spot. What's the name of the spot? Do you know?
That deeply, I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's because people who live in these places don't usually know, but the tourists know, right? It's a spot called Jyotisar. Jyotisar. Jyoti, light, sar, the essence. So Krishna spoke the Gita, or sung the Gita to Arjuna, right before there was going to be a huge war. A huge war. I mean, Krishna is so brilliant that he arranged that the Gita be spoken right at the when the whole world is the whole attention is riveted. If you've read the Mahabharata, the great history of Greater India, right, it all culminates in this Kurukshetra war. So just when everybody's wondering what's going to happen, because you got all the bad guys on this side and all the good guys, and it's really a battle between good and evil. It actually happened, but there's that larger kind of symbolic significance. So just when everybody's wondering what's going to happen, Krishna's got everybody's attention, right? And then, right at the crucial moment, before I tell you that, there's at Jyotisar, there's a monument. Have you seen the monument? There's a monument. There's a big monument, and there's Krishna and Arjuna on a chariot. It's like a shrine commemorating the spot where the Gita was sung. And in India, if you live in India, sometimes devotees, they take this journey to Kurukshetra it's called Mokshada Ekadashi. It's the Ekadashi coming up on Wednesday. It's kind of like the Hare Krishna Sabbath, if you're not familiar with it. Ekadashi, every 2 weeks on the 11th day of the moon, both waning and waxing. The devotees, hardcore Ekadashi is you don't take a drop of water or a bite of food and you stay up all night. That's beyond me. But that's what some devotees do if they're practiced to that. We at ISKCON, Prabhupada, he gave us a very lenient, he said, just abstain from grains and beans and, eat a little less and hear and chant more. So, so when we can't journey to Kurukshetra to do these, they recite the Gita there, all, from sunrise to sunrise, 24 hours. And they have seminars on the significance of the Gita. So what do we do if we can't, like in Tucson, it's kind of far to Kurukshetra. If you put it on if you type in if you ask your phone, Alexa, how far away is Kurukshetra? Whatever. 10,500, and yeah, we can't do that. So, but we can still recite the Gita and discuss its messages. So giving and receiving the Bhagavad Gita on that special day, and we're honoring it today, but any day, but especially on Moksha Day Ekadashi, is considered very auspicious. Okay, so yeah, just when Krishna has the attention of the whole world, everybody, what's going to happen? Then he delivers the essence. It's like the whole Mahabharata is like a big drama. There's romance, and then there's fighting, and then there's so many intrigues, and then it all culminates on this war between good and evil. And they're just about to go at it. 640 million people. That's like half the population of today's India, right? He sings the Gita. And so that's the medicine within the applesauce. Sometimes, if you try to give your child medicine, you have to slip it in some applesauce, maybe. So, what is the Gita? I haven't even gotten to it yet. So simply put, it's the most important conversation that has ever taken place. That's a mouthful. That's a big claim. The most important conversation that's ever taken place. Wow. So why? Because it's a timeless conversation between the Supreme Person, Krishna, and his devotee Arjuna. Now Arjuna, yeah, there they are in the chariot, if you can see the books, traveling with his Gita roadshow, and he's doing this, he's singing this song. And Arjuna, he plays a key role in this endless drama. That drama is for your sake, our sake. Just before the battle that Krishna has arranged between the forces of good and evil, Arjuna sees his most intimate friends and relatives on the other side and becomes bewildered. Can you imagine? Krishna has asked him to fight this righteous war, Dharma Yuddha, this righteous battle. But then on the other side, can you imagine you see all your family and friends? What? You want me to kill them? Arjuna, Bhishma, Drona, Prabhu Katak. I can't take it. And therefore he becomes bewildered. His mouth starts drying up, his knees are wobbling, his skin is burning. I can't, and he says he can't fight. I can't do this. You want me to kill my gurus, my friends and family? So playing the part of Arjuna's charioteer, Krishna speaks the Gita to Arjuna. It's a play, it's a drama, and they're always enacting it. Right now, somewhere in the material creation, Krishna is singing the Gita to Arjuna. It's like an eternal roadshow. And when he's speaking, Krishna is revealing the truths of life, of reality, of the universe, and convinces him to do his duty and fight. It takes him about 700 verses to accomplish this. It takes about an hour. Can you imagine? They're all ready to fight, and then all the soldiers see, wait a minute, what's going on here? Krishna's drawing Arjuna's chariot between the two armies. We're supposed to fight here, and then they're talking. So, yeah. But in that time span, Krishna revealed the truths about what the Supreme is, the individual soul, the nature of the cosmos, time, and karma, or destiny. Now, since we all face life's dilemmas and have our own battles to fight, we're all sitting here comfortably situated, but we all have our own challenges too, right? We're all dealing with stuff. That's the material world. We all have our own battles to fight. So Krishna's words, they speak directly to us all. He's speaking to Arjuna about his problem, but his problem is it's like an everyman problem. We all have these problems. Especially we have the problem of time chasing us all, birth, death, old age, and disease. So this drama is performed again and again, not only on this planet, but throughout this universe and in other universes as well. You know, because even today's cosmologists and astrophysicists, they're positing things like multiverses. That's one of their latest, ideas of it. And so actually, they're finally catching up to the Vedic presentation of reality. Yeah, there's Krishna in his Vishnu form. He breathes out. Can you imagine? He's just dreaming. He just breathing out. He's exhaling innumerable universes. What do we breathe out? We breathe out some germs or something. But God, he breathes out. When he dreams universes. Yes. So this drama is performed. Is that Karuna?
Yes.
Confirmed. Again. Thank you, Karuna. This drama is performed again and again. Not only, yes. In each performance, there are slight variations in the dialogue. Just like if you've ever seen a play, that maybe it's running like on Broadway. They do Broadway runs. And they talk to the actors. Sometimes they interview the actors. What's it like? You're doing the same play every night? But they always say, but it's always different. It's always different. Because the audience is different. And the way we say the lines are different. And the emotions we feel are different. So that's the way it is with the Bhagavad Gita. It's the same basic topics. Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma, same 5 topics, but the way it plays out between Krishna and Arjuna, it's ever fresh. It's endlessly unique. Now, great sages and yogis can hear this conversation by their mystic power. Just like, let's just turn to it. Well, what's the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita? Dhritarashtra uvacha dharmakshetre kurukshetre sabhaveta yuyotsava mamakak pandavaschaiva kimakurvata sanjaya. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after assembling in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, what did my sons and the sons of Pandu do, being desirous to fight? The blind king Dhritarashtra is asking his assistant, Sanjaya, if you've seen the painting. And Sanjaya is, in his mystic meditation, he sees and hears what's going on at the battlefield. They're in Hastinapur. They're in what's called Delhi now. So 100 miles away, Sanjaya, by his mystic power, he says at the end of the Gita, Vyasa prasadat strutavan, by the mercy of Vyas, my spiritual master, I have heard this most wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. So when people are really highly evolved, they develop these kinds of mystic powers. And let's see, where am I in the script? I have no mystic power. I just have the script, right? Okay. What did I do? Got the wrong page? Hey, yeah, here it is. Okay, great sages and yogis can hear this conversation by their mystic power. And some have written them down for our benefit. So how do we have this? If this is a conversation, how do we have this? There was no court recorder or transcriber at the battlefield. But there was Vyas. He's the literary incarnation of Krishna. And he wrote it down. And therefore we have it intact. But still, listen to this. He wrote it down for our benefit. Now, the key to an authentic translation of this sacred conversation is that it is received through a bona fide succession of masters and disciples traceable to Krishna and Arjuna. Krishna says that, right, during the conversation. Evam parang para praptam. This supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession. And the saintly kings understood it in that way. You can't just receive it any old way. You have to receive it through a chain, a disciplic chain of masters and disciples whose senses, mind, and intelligence are purified. Therefore, our Srila Prabhupada called his translation and commentary, can you see it? Bhagavad Gita as it is, not as it ain't. Most translations and commentaries, you know what they do? They avoid Krishna, even though Krishna is the speaker of it. And now we're going to take you to an example of that, as an example of how much Prabhupada was an authentic representative of Krishna and Arjuna. I'd like to share with you an event that happened in December 1970. Wow, it's December 54 years ago. Yeah. In India, when Prabhupada went with his disciples to a conference, supposedly honoring the Bhagavad Gita, remember that word supposedly, on Gita Jayanti, on Mokshada Ekadashi, 54 years ago. Now, the event was recorded in the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, Prabhupada's authorized biography. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to read you an excerpt. This is one of the editions. It's not the original edition, but it's got bigger print. But it's the same. It's the authorized biography of Srila Prabhupada, which Prabhupada said could be written if it was done nicely. He told Satsrup Maharaj, and Satsrup Maharaj wrote it. And I was lucky enough to be part of the research team. So, yeah, once upon a time, long ago and far away in Madhya Pradesh, in Indore. You been to Indore? You okay? Middle of India, Madhya. This is what happened. So, in Indore, so they were invited to this Gita conference. So Prabhupada knows what these Gita conferences usually are about. They're about distracting people from Krishna. But he wanted to go and show his disciples how to present Gita as it is. In Indore, Srila Prabhupada and his disciples, you know what? I better just cut to the chase and get to the part. What happened was, they went to the conference and they put Prabhupada last, to speak last. So the devotees had to sit through so many speakers speaking Gita as it ain't, you know, and distracting people from the real, most of it impersonal interpretations of the Gita. So, and they were speaking in Hindi. So Prabhupada's Western disciples couldn't understand a word of what was going on. So then Prabhupada, he got up there and he spoke in English because he wanted his disciples to hear how to present Gita as it is. And he didn't care if people didn't speak English. He just wanted them. And a lot of them did, of course. So anyway, let's see. Here's that. All right. So, when Prabhupada finally spoke, he began by explaining that in the West, he was spreading the teachings of the Gita as it is. Bhagavad Gita, he said, could be properly understood only in disciplic succession, just as Arjuna, the original student of the Bhagavad Gita, had understood it. The Gita was for the devotee of Krishna and should not be misinterpreted by non-devotees. Misinterpret the Gita, he said, was to cheat in the name of religion. He also spoke strongly against pseudo-incarnations. You know, we're used to charlatans in the West, but India has the added value of charlatan gods. There's so many charlatan avatars. It's quite a phenomenon. Prabhupada concluded his talk and asked his disciples to begin kirtan. It was an ecstatic, spontaneous event, and Prabhupada began dancing on stage along with his disciples. The crowd came to life and began clapping rhythmically. Hansaduta jumped down from the stage, still playing mridanga, and began inducing members of the audience to join in chanting and dancing. Several other devotees also jumped down, and soon hundreds of people had risen to their feet, swaying, clapping, and singing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This was the real Gita Jayanti Mahotsav. The holy name of Krishna was being sung, and everyone was happily united in the kirtan. Okay, so then, so the organizer of the conference, they said, "Oh, this was great. Thank you for coming, Swamiji," and everybody loved it. And but then Prabhupada got on their case. He said, "Look, my disciples should not have to sit through, countless Hindi speakers before we do this." So they said, "Oh, don't worry, Swamiji, don't worry." So the next night, despite the promises, the same thing happened. So then Prabhupada got up, and then he delivered his talk about how to present Gita as it is. And then he started a kirtan. And then the organizer of the conference, especially one guy, he came up and he said, now jump off the stage and get the people to chant and dance again. They were trying to recreate the last night. During the kirtan, one of the members of the Gita Bhavan gestured to the devotees to jump down into the crowd as they had done on the preceding night. But what had been a spontaneous event the night before could not be artificially staged simply as a crowd pleaser. The man, however, was insistent. Listen to this. He came forward to the edge of the stage, reached up, and began grabbing at the feet of the dancing devotees, trying to pull them into the audience. This guy was an idiot. The devotees became annoyed. Grabbing indiscriminately, the man pulled at one of the women's saris. Srila Prabhupada was also dancing, but when he saw that, he rushed to the edge of the stage, swinging his kartals toward the man's face and shouting, "Stop this!" The man retreated, and Prabhupada and his disciples continued their kirtan. Although little noticed by the crowd, Prabhupada's burst of lion-like ferocity had amazed his disciples. Yeah. So the next night, when Prabhupada spoke, they did schedule him first, and then they wanted him to stay and then do kirtan at the end. But he said, "No, we're not staying for these impersonal speakers, Hindi speakers." And he just rose up and he just walked out with his disciples. He made a statement. Okay, it's 6:28, and I'm just wondering if any of you have any questions about the Bhagavad Gita. It's 5 topics. Okay, Sunil Prabhu.
So in battlefield, there are a lot of members, right? So did they also able to listen this Gita?
In where? I didn't catch the second word.
Battlefield.
Battlefield. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've read. Where's my? Oh, here it is. Okay. I've read because Krishna drew the chariot right up in front of Bhishma and Drona, because he knew that's where Arjuna was going to be having the most difficulty, just face to face with Bhishma, grandfather Bhishma, who was his guardian, who always protected the Pandavas, from the bad guys. And Drona was his martial arts guru. So he did that purposely. And right next to them was Duryodhana, the chief villain. he was the chief bad guy. So I've read that Duryodhana heard this too, but but Duryodhana was hell bent, as we say. So when Arjuna heard the Gita, he became completely enlightened. He got it. Oh, you're God. I mean, this is a play, this is a drama, but still by Krishna's arrangement, Arjuna is put into illusion, as we are in illusion for our sake, so he can be enlightened and we can be enlightened. But Duryodhana was not a devotee, so he didn't meet the qualification to understand the Gita. Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. To understand the Gita, we have to become Krishna's devotee and friend. Yeah. So perhaps later, I don't know, but at the moment, I know at least Duryodhana heard this. I think that's right in the Mahabharata. And now we have Omar.
I'm wondering if it's the same jivas in each universe that's in the play. Like, is it the same Arjuna in my own universe?
Yeah, that's part. It's the same Arjuna, and that's just part of his service. I mean, that's not the only thing they do. They're contemporaries. Arjuna is son of Kunti, and Kunti is Krishna's aunt. Yeah, so they're basically of the same age, and they do so many things, and that's one thing Arjuna even says to Krishna. Saketi matva prasabham yuduktam. Hey Krishna, hey Yadava, hey Saketi. Oh, you're God, and I've just been so familiar with you, taking you for granted. I've done so many things. Hey Saketi, I'm thinking you're just my friend, but you're actually the Supreme Lord. But that was Krishna doesn't like just to be God. He doesn't even care about being God. That's one of his opulences. He's totally detached. He'd rather be chased around by Mother Jashoda, with a stick. Prabhupada says in one recording, Krishna's thinking, everybody's worshiping me as God, but nobody's coming to chastise me. He likes the intimacy of that, If you just say if you say to a big person, or you say to, I don't know, Elon Musk or Bill Gates, or what's the guy's name, Amazon?
Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. Oh, you're so, they'll look at you. Yeah, well, what else is new, So, but if you're relating to the person, but if you happen to be a friend or the child of big people, and then they relish that intimate exchange. So it's the same person, but it's just like I said. If you listen to actors talk about how they do the same play every night, it's always different, they say, and it's all about because one secret to acting is that it's all about the exchange between you and whoever you're acting with. And the energy is always changing. It's always different. So, I mean, that's the best analogy I know. And I wasn't there at Jyotisar myself. I don't know what the energy was like there, but we get it. Actually, Prabhupada says, if you hear this submissively, if you hear the Gita submissively, you get the same experience Arjuna did. If your intention is the same, because Arjuna, he was the first chapter of the Gita, he's doing all the talking. He's arguing of why he shouldn't fight. But then in the second chapter, verse 7, he says, I'm confused. Please instruct me. Please don't just be my friend anymore. You can only you can instruct me. Yeah. So forget where I was going with that. So now what we're going to do, and after we're going to have our own little Gita Jayanti ecstatic Sammelan. Now that we've heard about the Gita, we can chant and dance the way Prabhupada did with his disciples. And then after, we're going to talk some more about how we can participate in the spreading of the Gita together. It's going to be a big surprise with Tati. Any more questions before we should better open the curtains, huh? Well, thanks for listening. I don't feel so nervous anymore. I'm among friends. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.